today we are doing, what is this, 10 point something, 10.5. And we're going to talk about 3 new rules. First rule is this. A tangent and a chord, the angle between a tangent and a chord is going to be half the size of the arc. It's very similar to the one we talked about last time, which was the angle at the edge of a circle is half the arc. So for example, for number 3, if this angle right here is 65, and when I say this angle, I mean like the actual angle of the lines, that means this arc, BA, is going to be twice as much. So while this one's 65, this is going to be 130. Same thing here. You have an angle that's 117. The arc is going to be double the size. The arc is going to be double the size of that angle. So instead of 117, you're going to multiply by 2. That should be 234. So arc FDEF is 234. Now, if you take the angle on the side and double it, the reverse is going to be true. You take the arc and you're going to cut it in half to get the angle. So if the arc is 260, this angle is going to be half the size of the arc. So that should be 130 degrees. So far, very straightforward. Just double it or cut it in half, depending which direction you're going to. Let's talk about number 6. There's 2 things that are kind of important. First off, the diagram is not drawn to scale. So it looks like an acute angle here. It looks like an acute angle, but it's telling you don't take that to account. It's just showing you an example. Okay? It looks like an acute angle, but you don't use that to your answer. Line AB is any chord that is not the diameter. So it's any chord that's not the diameter. If it's not the diameter / radius, let's say, then we have to think of a rule that we learned in 10.2, which was tangents and radiuses, or tangents and diameters, would be perpendicular, or 90 degrees. If it's not a diameter, then it cannot be 90 degrees. Once again, a diameter forms a 90-degree angle. Exactly a diameter forms a 90-degree angle, which means the reverse is true also. If it's not a diameter, then it's not 90 degrees. And the one that represents that is option D. Again, it has to be a diameter in order to be 90 degrees. But it's not a diameter, it can't be 90 degrees. All right. That's for 3 to 6. Any questions on that at all? Okay, I'm going to clear this page up a bit. We'll scroll down. 7, 8, and 9. Not very straightforward, but this is a new rule that I'm going to deal with. When you have 2 chords intersect, to find the angle, when it was from the center, let's say, when it was the center of the circle, we never had to think about it. It was equal, so it was very easy. But this is not in the center, so we have to do something special, which is the rule I'm about to say. To find the angle here, angle X, we need to take the average of the 2 arcs opposite of it. So that's arc here, CD, arc CD, which is 145, and this arc over here, which is 85. So this is 145, this is 85. We're going to take the average of that to find this angle right here in yellow. So 145 plus 85, all of that is going to be divided by 2, and that's going to find the X. 145 plus 85 is 230. 230. Then divided by 2 should be 115. So your answer for X is 115 is X. This yellow one right here is 115. And just remember, vertical angles, this is also 115, okay? So the rule is, if the angles are inside the circle, 2 chords are inside the circle, you're going to average it. Now over here, they give you a little trick. First off, they don't tell you what this part is. So we're looking for that part. The second thing is they don't give you either this or this red marked angles. So we need to find that first because that's the one in between the two we know, 45 and X. So to find the inside one, we have to remember something from chapter 2 or 3 is the linear pair postulate. If this is 112.5, if this part right here is 112.5, this angle, that would mean that this angle over here on the left is going to be supplementary because it's a linear pair. So this angle over here should be 180 minus 122.5. That's going to make it 57.25. Yeah, 57.5. Now we know that middle red angle, we can do the setup for the equation. The setup is going to look like this. We have our two parts here. I don't know what x is, so I got to write it as x. X plus 45 divided by 2 equals 57.5. Now, when the things are on top of a fraction, it's kind of like a visible parentheses. So the first thing I would do is times by 2 on both sides. So times this by 2, times this by 2, x plus 45 is going to equal 57.5 times 2 is 1, I'm being really dumb, 115? Yeah, 115. Then we're going to do x plus 45 equals 115. Subtract 45 on both sides. Your x is going to be 70 degrees. So this arc over here is 70. And just to check, the average between 70 and 45, so 70 plus 45 is 115, divided by 2 is 57.5, so it matches out. All right, let's get to number 9 over here. And I'm going to do my work over here. Number 9, almost the same issue, even worse actually though. We have an x for the inside angle, and we're dealing with an x on the outside arcs. So we're going to have to set this up like a full-on algebra question. So how are we going to do that? First, I want to figure out what this red angle is. The problem is I don't know what x is over here. But I do know the relationship between this angle and this angle. The relationship is they're supplementary. So angle K, there's no letter here, so KXL is going to be whatever x is minus 180.
Doesn't that mean that x has to be 90?
Not necessarily. It just means it's going to be 180 minus x. It could be 90, it could be 70, it could be any number, okay? But the red angle, you're going to draw that or represent that algebraically as 180 minus x, because you know it's going to be what's left over after you take away this x over here. Again, it doesn't necessarily need to be 90. They don't necessarily need to be equal. Okay, so this one, though, it's still the same process. We're trying to get the average of these two arcs. So to get the average of these two arcs, we're going to add them together, divided by 2. So it's 30 plus 2x minus 30 divided by 2.
Wait, why'd you do plus 2x?
We're adding this part right here. They added together, the two blue underlined things.
Okay.
So I can write it with parentheses, but it doesn't really make a difference in this case. The parentheses might be a little bit more clear. Regardless, let's cancel out things that we can. We have a 30 minus 30 here. So 30 minus 30 is 0, so that's really nice. That cancels out cleanly. And then we're left with 2x over 2. Well, 2x over 2, that reduces 1 over 1. So this right side ends up being reduced all the way to 1, or just 1x, I should say.
So yeah.
And the left is still 180 minus x. So we want to get all the x's on one side. So I'm going to do plus x here and plus x here. So I got 180 equals 2x. Then divided by 2 on both sides. Your x happens to be 90. So Jay, you just say 90, which was the correct answer, but I want to make it clear it's not always, it doesn't happen to always be 90. It just happened to be.
Why didn't you divide when you got 2x over 2? Isn't that just make it x equals 1?
Not x equals 1. It's just 1x. So I just reduced it down to x, which is over here. Doesn't make it x equals 1. It just makes it reduced down to 1. If it was 2x over 2x, then it would reduce completely down to 1. But it's 2x over 2. Okay, Danny? All right. That one's not that straightforward. Any questions on 7, 8, or 9 before I move on? Okay, let's go to the next one, 10, 11, and 12. So here's the rule when it's outside the circle. These are inside the circle, so we average it, we add it together. And when it's outside the circle, like this one over here, angle Q, we're going to take our larger arc. The larger arc is always the one that's farther away from the angle. And we're going to subtract it from our smaller arc, which is always the arc closer to the angle. Larger is farther away, smaller is closer. So we're going to do that minus the red arc minus the blue arc divided by 2. Instead of adding, we're dividing. So the larger one is 247, so I'll write 247 over here. Minus, I need to find this blue arc. But I do know something. A full circle is 360. So I can figure out this blue arc by doing 360 minus 247. So this blue arc is what's left over the circle. 360 minus 247 should be 113. So this blue arc right here is 113. That's the smaller arc, so I'm going to subtract that. Bigger minus smaller. Then I'm going to divide all of that by 2. Divided by 2 is always there. So 247 minus 113, that is 4, 3.
Wait, how'd you get 113 again?
Sure. 113, I got it from 360 minus 247. This red arc is 247, and the full circle is 360. So 134 divided by 2 should be 67. So the angle X over here is 67. Okay. Let's take the next one. So the next one, we have this larger arc right here. And when I say the larger arc, I don't really care for everything. I just care for what's trapped inside the angle. So when I say the larger arc, I want the arc from D to G here. I don't want this part either. That's not important. So I have my larger, which is 114, minus my smaller, which is this arc right here in blue. I don't know what that is. They just tell me it's X. All over 2 should equal the outside angle. The outside angle, they're telling me, is 29. So again, we're going to use our algebraic skills in order to solve this. Times 2 on both sides to get rid of that 2 on the bottom. So we got 114 minus X equals 29 times 2, 58. Subtract 114 on both sides. We get negative X equals 56, negative 56. Yeah, negative 56. Then I don't like negatives, so I'm going to divide negative 1 on both sides. Not that I don't like negatives. I don't like negatives next to my variables. So I take that out. So X ends up being 56. If you ever do a problem like this, and somehow your angle turns out to be negative, you know you made a mistake somewhere in the end. If your angle turns out negative in the end, you know you made a mistake somewhere. But it's x minus 56. So this little arc, this blue arc right here, is 56 degrees. All right, let's go to 12. Let me clear this up. Let me clear this up. Or I'll just do it here. All right, number 12, we have our larger arc, UV, and we're going to subtract it from our smaller arc, TW. So UV is 3x minus, and I'm doing it over here on the left, 3x minus 2. I'm going to put it in parentheses because I want to make sure we don't mess up with the negatives. So I'm going to do minus the smaller arc, which is x plus 6. All of that over 2 equals 34, which is the angle out here. Okay, let's simplify some things. 3x minus x is going to be 2x. You could distribute the negative and then combine like terms. I'm just going to do it straight through, just to be a little quicker. Negative 2 minus positive 6 is going to be a negative 8. All over 2 equals 34. And again, you could distribute this like negative 1 to both of these, then subtract, that's fine. Or add or whatever. So let's times 2 on both sides. Cross these out. We got 2x minus 8 equals 68. Plus 8 on both sides. 2x equals 76. Divided by 2 on both sides. It's a bit sloppy, but divided by 2 on both sides. 2 should equal, oh, not 2. X should equal 38. So x is 38 here. And you could plug it into these questions and then see if the numbers match up, which they should if you did it correctly. All right? Before I go on to the last question, here's 10 to 12. Any questions on those?
Mr. Tabal, for
Yeah.
question 12, I got up to 2x minus 8 over 2. What do you do after that?
I would multiply 2 on both sides to get rid of the 2 on the bottom. And then
Okay.
multiply 2 over here to make that 68.
So then I
Go ahead.
got 2x minus 8 equals 2x.
No, 34 times 2. This right here is 34. That's on the right side of the equal sign. I get that from this part right here. The 34 angle.
Mr. Tobal,
Yeah, what's
Mr.
up?
Tobal. So for that one, I didn't do it like you did it. I just took 2x minus 8 equals 60. Then I did plus 8 on both sides. And then I got 76 and then I divided by 2.
Listen, that's what I did.
No, you don't have that there.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah. I don't, because I didn't see the 76. Oh, okay, there it is.
I just moved it up here. I'm sorry. That's my fault for being sloppy. All right. Any other questions on 10, 11, 12? Okay. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to clear this board up. I'm happy to redraw it after. Okay. So number 13, this is going to be your exit ticket, but before you send me your answer, hold it. Before you send me your answer, you're going to tell me which of these angles are wrong. I'm going to use A for example. A is correct in this case. And let's see why. A, number 1, angle number 1 is this angle here. So it should be half of the full arc it's covering, which happens to be what I drew in red. So angle 1 is 120 plus 100, that's 220, divided by 2. Cut it in half, that's 110. So angle 1 should be 110. Angle A is 110, so this is not your answer. We're looking for what's not true. So for your exit ticket, you're not only going to tell me what is the right, which one is not true out of these, you're going to also send me the number for what number it should be. So for example, pretend if number 1 was supposed to be 100, you have to tell me A and 100. So pick your answer from the letters, and then tell me what number it should be to be correct. After that, you're free to go. Daniel, incorrect. Hoovy, half incorrect. Remember, 3 and 4 are inside, so you got to take your average, okay? 3 and 4 is in the inside. You got to take the average. Remember to send me not only which one's incorrect, but tell me what the number should be. Hoovy, closer, but not right. Zach, your statement's incorrect. Ethan, I need a number. Daniel is the first one on the board. Good job, Daniel. Rivka, give me the actual degrees it should be. Don't just talk about angles.
Wait, how did you get angle 1 again?
Sure, I'm happy to explain again. Right now, Hoovy, no. Remember, you got to average something, so it should be definitely a smaller number than that. Jason, you're a little bit off. Check your math. Rivka, incorrect. Michelle, incorrect. Abby, incorrect. Maybe I should just talk about this. So let's talk about number 3. Ethan, you got the number. So let's talk about number 3. Number 3 is going to be the average of the 2 opposite arcs. So it should be the average between 100 and 60. The average between 100 and 60, 160 divided by 2, is 80. Number 3 should be 80. So that checks off. So this is not false. Seems like everyone ruled out B. I haven't seen a B yet. And I see now people are putting in D. Angle 4 should be 80 plus 120, which is 200 divided by 2 is 100. So I see everyone's getting it down. So I'm going to read out your names so I make sure you know I see you. So Ethan, you're good. Hoovy, you're good. Sam, you're good. Zach, you're good. Samson, you're good. Abby, you're good. Kayla, you're good. Callie, you're good. Lenoy, you're good. Elizabeth, you're good. Michelle, you're good. And once I say you're good, you're free to go, guys, okay? I'm going to stop recording, by the way.